It is 4 p.m. We're bringing developing news.
And the stories behind the headlines. This is StoryCon. I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Ed Lingao. Some stories are watching this Thursday, June 5. President Bongbong Marcos will assess the economic impact of the proposed 200 peso daily minimum wage hike recently passed by the House of Representatives. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro says that while the president supports workers' welfare, he wants to consult with stakeholders and wage boards first to ensure that the move is sustainable. For its part, the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry warns that the hike could trigger higher inflation and threaten the survival of small businesses. The business sector urged lawmakers to balance workers' needs with enterprise capacity and protect MSMEs from negative economic effects.
Inflation eased to 1.3% in May 2025. That's down from 1.4% or 1.8% in April. Meantime, year-to-date average inflation stands at 1.9%. The Philippine Statistics Authority attributes the decline to slower price increases in housing and utilities. Siquijor province has been placed under a state of calamity due to daily power outages lasting 6 to 8 hours. Governor Jake Villa says the provincial government will step in to address the crisis. The island's power supply is managed by the Villar Group's SIPCOR.
And in the U.S., President Donald Trump has signed a new travel ban affecting nationals from 12 countries. These include Afghanistan, Iran, Somalia, and Yemen. 7 other countries, such as Cuba and Venezuela, face partial restrictions. The White House says the order is a common-sense move to protect Americans from, and we quote, dangerous foreign actors. And joining us in a bit, StoryCon's resident political heckler, Tito Raul Llamas, who is still out heckling other people in the streets. But in the meantime...
Out heckling traffic.
Alam mo naman yun. Iba inaaway siguro ngayon. From the Philippine Star, we have Editor-in-Chief Ami Pamintuan.
Hi, happy Thursday, Ed and Reg.
Si Ami ngayon, soft ang kanyang dating ngayon.
Okay.
Ito naman yung passion na
Ayun na naman tayo.
Passion
Ayun na
commentator
naman tayo,
ko.
Bok eh.
Di ba? Parang...
Okay.
Okay, never mind.
Okay, we give it to you. Okay, half point for effort. Okay, so what are we talking about? Nako, first of all, legislated wage hike.
Ang gulo.
200 pesos across the board for the formal sector. President Marcos wants to consult with stakeholders and wage boards first to ensure the move is sustainable. Ayun na naman tayo. Why are we only consulting now, right? When the House has already passed it. And in fact, just this very afternoon, the PCCI, the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the largest business group in the country, also issued a statement saying they weren't consulted on this matter.
Yeah.
They said that this will lead to higher labor costs, consequently resulting in higher costs of goods and services and inflation. And they also said it might lead to job losses as well, considering that
Yes.
more than 96% of the country's economy are made up of MSMEs. Ito yung mga small and medium-sized enterprises. And if you legislate a wage hike across the board, they may not be able to afford it. So their only choice is to let go of staff, of people.
Can I ask something? Kasi I've been reading around that, well, there are some claims that, 90% of the labor force belongs to the informal sector. In other words, hindi sila covered nitong 200 peso minimum wage hike. Is that true? And if that is the case, then how small a chunk of the labor force will be affected?
The numbers vary, but according to PCCI, again, the largest business chamber in the country, it's 50 to 60% are made up of the informal
50 to 60.
sector.
Okay.
So hindi sila kasama sa wage hike na to. 50 to 60% are made up of the belong to the informal sector. So hindi sila kasama. So they're not going
Mga
to
tricycle
benefit.
driver, nagbebenta sa palengke, and so
Mga online sellers,
hindi
lahat yan
regular ang
informal.
Hindi,
Oo.
self-employed naman yan. Iba naman yan.
Oo. So,
Self-employed yan eh. And they are affected kapag kahit siyang informal sector. Basta merong wage order, affected lahat yan eh. Affected lahat ng negosyo.
well, the other thing that will affect them is the digital services tax. Ito yung mga affected na mga nagbebenta online, which, as we know, also just kicked in, right? Medyo
Yes.
the story kind of just got buried because of all the big political news, pero nag-kick in na ang digital services tax as of this week. So that's another thing that both workers and small and medium businesses
Self-employed.
have to contend with, and the self-employed, they have to contend with. Pero yun nga, there's big questions again still, even though na-legislate na ng Congress itong, pasa na ng Congress itong legislated wage hike, 200 peso per day. Malacanang says, President Marcos says he wants to consult with stakeholders and wage boards, which brings us back to the question of why are we only consulting now?
Hindi, kasi yung batas naman natin, it has to be the tripartite wages and productivity boards.
Yes, correct. So
That will set wages.
And actually,
ang tagal-tagal ng pinagpipilitan na itong mga politiko natin na mag-legislate.
Correct.
They want to get into wage setting na ayaw naman nilang konsultahin.
Yes.
Yung mga magbabayad, hindi nila pera yan eh.
Exactly.
Yung magbabayad na employer, hindi nila kinukonsulta.
Yes, exactly.
Diba?
And that's exactly the point of the business chambers, no? Parang meron namang regional wage board. And
Yes.
the regional wage and productivity board, and the only job of this regional wage and productivity board is to set regional standards for wage hikes.
Annual
Kasi
yan,
iba-iba
ha?
yung cost of
Annual
living.
yung wage hike na yan.
Oo. Iba-iba yung cost of living, of course, depending on where
Yeah.
you live, right? O, ayun na po yung ating resident political heckler.
Yan naman ang reklamo ng
Kaya
mga labor
kukumustahin
groups.
natin.
Yan naman ang reklamo ng
Kukumustahin
mga
natin
labor
yung gulo
groups
sa
the regional
Donald,
wage boards
yung
have
gulo sa
failed in ameliorating yung kanilang problema sa standard of living. Kaya nga ang taas, record high ang self-rated poverty.
Ang complaint is hindi
Hindi nakakahabol sa inflation. Hindi nakakahabol sa cost of living.
So then that's the problem
Yeah.
of the regional wage board kasi
Yeah,
that's their
problema
only
ng
job.
regional wage board
That's their
dahil-
only job.
Dahil yung regional wage board, yung least common denominator, yung pinakamababa ang kanilang pinipili. Ang problema, tumataas ang standard of living. Tumataas ang presyo ng kuryente, ng medisina, ng gasolina. Hindi nakakahabol. No? Kaya ang sinasabi nila, pwede ba tayo mag-minimum wage legislation? Na last time na nangyari was 1989. Dahil marami nagpo-fall sa cracks. Yun yung kanilang problema.
But would you want a nationally set minimum wage every now and then?
Well, kung nagfe-fail yung regional wage
Lalo
board
na
mo,
politiko yun
kung nagpe-fail yung regional wage board mo, then nagagalit yung mga tao. Diba? Dahil nga hindi makaka-catch up sa inflation, hindi makaka-catch up sa cost of living, yun yung nagiging problema nila. At ngayon, inabot tayo
Ang tanong dyan, kaya bang ibayad yung iuutos mo?
At ngayon, inabot ka ng highest self-rated poverty in 2.5 decades. No, yun yung kalagayan mo ngayon. Tapos highest involuntary hunger, 28%. No? So, yun yung problema. Those
Pero
contradictions.
pag nawalan ng trabaho, di lalong lalalayan, di ba?
Well, mali yung ganong klaseng study. May study na dyan na yung pagtaas na 200 pesos is not that inflationary. That's just 200 pesos. No, ang inflationary,
But it's 200 pesos per day.
ang
That's per
inflationary,
day.
ang
That's
inflationary,
4,000 a month.
yeah. Tapos may mga exemption yan. Bawa, sweatshops. Yung mga maliliit. Hindi dyan kasama No? Hindi dyan kasama. Yung mga maliliit.
Sweatshops agad
Oo, dahil small scale Yung mga small scale are sweatshops. Yan yung pinakamahirap organisa ng union. Dahil ang tingin dyan ng employers, parang bahagi ng pamilya. Diyan usually ang patayan sa labor organizing. No? Yan yung mga maliliit, yung mga 50 below. No? Yan yung...
Pero as a matter of trying to fix processes, if the regional wage boards are failing in what they're doing, which they're supposed to be doing properly if they were working well, shouldn't we fix the regional wage boards so that the
exactly.
process becomes a regular matter of
ang
review?
problema mo sa regional wage boards, dahil siyempre, ang mas malakas ang pressure dyan are the employers. Yun yung mas malaki ang pressure dyan. No, kaya, least common denominator, LCD yung nangyayari.
Pero
Hindi siya nakakahabol sa standard of living.
In theory, itong regional wage board should have equal representation amongst the private sector, the workers, the labor unions,
Lahat
the
naman in
government.
theory, parang impeachment.
So in theory lang nangyayari. The devil
And power is never equal.
it's in the implementation where we always fall
In theory
short.
ba, merong ang tawag dyan? Yung tinawag ni Bato do sa dismissal ng impeachment.
Functional dismissal, de facto
De facto dismissal.
Sa bagay, wala rin naman. In theory, wala rin.
In theory,
Lalo namang mahirap yung iiwan dyan sa mga politiko. Tingnan mo naman yung mga nakaupo dyan sa Congress.
Actually, yung politiko humaharang eh. Kaya nga, since 1989, wala namang kwan eh. Wala namang minimum wage law. Since 1989.
Walang humarang dyan. It's 172-0 ang vote.
Well, Bok, I also remember we already had several cycles na naipasa ng isang chamber ang wage hike pero hindi naman umusad past that chamber. I forget
Actually,
whether it was the House or the Senate.
ang nag-pass niyan more than a year ago was the Senate.
Yun,
100 peso wage increase.
Yeah, I remember
Tapos
now.
tinasa ng Congress. ng
Tapos ang
HOR.
Congress nireject
Oo.
or inupuan. Yung Congress ang pan. Ngayon lang, dahil merong
May
pagbagsak na approval rating ng Presidente,
Ikaw nagsabi niya.
nakita nila na, teka, kailangan nating...
Bawi.
Bawi. Tapos, ang taas ng self-rated poverty at saka involuntary hunger. Nakita nila na baka makatulong ito na maigpawan yung pagbaba ng...
Igpawan talaga. But yun nga, wouldn't it also be a point of concern? I know what
Kasi
you're
Senator Pic lang sa
driving
yata
at.
nandiyan eh.
Pero last question po. Pero wouldn't you want to depoliticize kahit paano the manner by which we set wages? In other words,
Wala kang laban dyan sa employers. Kung i-depoliticize mo, the employers will always decide.
but if it's
Dahil
also
na,
politicized,
dahil ang hina ng labor eh. Yun yung problema mo.
Sabagay. The labor
So,
union.
sobrang
Pero
hina.
at least yung employer yung nagbabayad. Yung politiko walang binabayad dyan eh.
Yung politiko lang naman sa
Hindi nila
legislature.
iisipin yung capacity to pay eh.
Yung politiko naman, mga puro employers din yan eh.
maraming something
Oo,
like that.
98% ng
Pero
politiko are
hindi yun
also
ang,
employers.
hindi yun ang main
Siya nagsabi.
livelihood nila eh.
There are also
They
employers.
depend on their popularity.
Yeah, lahat yan may
Hindi
negosyo.
nila iniisip yung capacity ng ekonomiya
kontratista.
to handle that kind of thing.
Lahat ng mga politiko, karamihan are kontratista, may negosyo. Hindi ko na iisa-isahin.
Oo, negosyo, politika.
Oo. Maliban pa sa...
Ano tayo?
Iba pa yan sa
Umigis tayo.
mga-
Hindi, kanina pa
non-registered.
naghihintay si Senator Ping Lacson.
Let's bring in our guest for the day. We've got returning Senator Panfilo Ping Lacson. Good afternoon. Welcome back to StoryCon, Senator Lacson.
Hi,
Good afternoon,
Senator.
Regina. Ami, good afternoon, Ed.
Hi.
Good
Sir,
afternoon din.
magandang hapon.
Magandang
At
hapon,
si
Senator.
Ronald, of course.
Pasensya na.
Nanonood ako kaninang umaga sa kabilang station. Yung program ni Atty. Karen Jimenez, sabi ko, parang biglang pumogi si Atty. Karen.
Ikaw yun.
Napilitan eh.
Alam mo, sir, gumaganda yung tsura namin pagkatabi namin si Ronald.
Oh, yun na nga.
Kaya actually, kaya nandito yan eh, para gumanda yung tsura namin.
Pero Senator,
Kaya din lumipat ako sa show na to.
ang bait-bait ko ron ha. Wala akong binabanatan.
Okay, Senator, let's get into it. Senator, first of all, congratulations on winning re-election. And then, diretsuin ko na, no? Kasi ang mainit ngayon is, of course, the impeachment. You were quoted in the Inquirer as saying that you have seen a draft resolution of this plan to dismiss the impeachment. Could you tell us more about it? And kailan niyo po natanggap? Sino po nag-send sa inyo?
Taga-Senate yung nagpadala sa akin. Hindi ko masyadong binigyan ng pansin. Pero dahil na-interview nga ako din sa isang station at sinasabi nila meron silang hawak na kopya. So sabi ko, meron din akong kopya. Kaya lang undated, unnumbered, saka walang nakasign. Nakalagay doon, introduced by
Walang
Blanco.
number.
Oo.
Pero Senator, what
Senator.
was that about? Na yung resolution na hindi resolution, nung simula walang tatay yung resolution, eventually may umamin. No? So, sabi ni Senator Jinggoy, matagal na niya nakita yon, several days ago. Sabi ni Amy, 3 draft yung nakita niya. Sabi ni Senate President, walang ganyan, no? etc. etc. So, what's happening with a resolution which isn't a resolution?
The unresolved resolution.
Draft resolution, naghahanap ng pipirma. Pero, alam mo, mahirap namang malihim din dahil maliit lang naman yung mga opisina sa Senate. Magkakatabihan eh. So, nagtataka ako, pwede naman mag-introduce ng isang resolution, maski sinong senador o maski isang senador. Normally, pag meron kang gustong i-file na resolution, pipirmahan mo, tapos ilalapit mo sa mga ibang senador, baka gusto nyo mag-co-author sa aking resolution. So ang key is, ang nawawala rito, yung transparency. Bakit kailangan itago pa meron namang resolution, draft resolution, kung gusto mong i-file, hindi naman final yan. Pagka i-final mo dyan sa plenaryo, is either i-tackle or i-refer sa isang committee. In this case, most probably, Committee on Rules. Di ba?
Pero sir, baka trial balloon to kasi parang hot potato yung issue eh. So, cast around first kung makakuha ng suporta before it is stuck into the official processes.
Yes, tama yung sabi ni Ed, Senator, dahil very delicate ito dahil may power ba talaga yung plenary na i-reject ang isang impeachment before they can convene as a trial court? Paano? Marami ng mga legal pundits sinasabi, medyo hirap yan dahil wala yan sa Article 11 ng ating konstitusyon. No? Kaya baka yun yung isang dahilan kung bakit medyo sneaky yung resolution na yan.
Sa tingin ko, yung resolution, parang nag-express lang ng sense of the Senate. If at all, na hindi yung binding. Kasi hindi naman nag-act yung Senate as an impeachment court. Not yet, anyway. Or by any means, hindi siya impeachment court, kundi isang Senate na nagsasagawa na resolution, nag-express ng sense nila na gusto nila i-dismiss agad yung kaso, which is not binding. Kasi kung sakali mang ma-adapt ito in plenary, ano ba? Final. Nagkaroon ng binasa sa plenary, na-refer sa committee, magkakaroon ng committee report. Yung committee report, pagdebatihan pa yon. Pag nagdebate, assuming na nakakuha ng botong 13, so adopted yung resolution. Ngayon, yung kung mayroong gusto mag-petition, na sigurado may mag-petition sa Supreme Court kasi mayroong cause of action, di ba? Pwede nang aksyonan. So, pwede namang makialam yung Supreme Court kasi hindi naman na pinapakialaman ang isang impeachment court kung hindi yung isang Senado na nag-express na kanilang sense na kailangan dismiss na yung kaso, de facto dismissal.
Pero sir, what is your sense of this resolution? Do you agree with it na the Senate should, kasi it says here, be it resolved for the Senate to declare a de facto dismissal of the impeachment case against VP Sara Duterte. Do you, for example, agree with the pretext and the resolution of this resolution?
No. Because yung impeachment court lang ang pwedeng mag-convict o mag-acquit. Or siguro pwedeng mag-dismiss. Of course, questionable. Pero kung halimbawa, sa technicality o technicalities na nagbotohan yung impeachment court, na-convict na. Tapos nagkaroon ng mga motion. Halimbawa, yung defense, nag-move na motion to dismiss, lack of jurisdiction, etc., etc., masya naman, yun, debatable din yun. Pero sa tingin ko, pananaw ko lang ito, kung halimbawang in-approve yung motion to dismiss na grant as an impeachment court, nakakuha ng 13, yung ba kayang i-review ng Supreme Court? Sa tingin ko, hindi. Kasi impeachment court na yung nag-decide.
Pero Senator, nakailang basa kami ni Ami.
Ang tanong ko,
Go ahead, Ami.
Ang tingin ko dyan, binasa ko yung resolution Hindi naman pagbobotohan yung case. Actually, ang pagbobotohan nila, are we even going into trial?
Oo, parang dismiss na.
Pwede bang ganun yun na ayaw namin i-try yan Pwede bang sabihin nyo ng mga senador, ayaw namin i-try yan. Wala na oras.
Hindi nga sila nag-aamta sa impeachment court. So wala silang personalidad, wala silang authority na mag-dismiss ng isang impeachment complaint. Kasi ang pwede lang umakto sa impeachment complaint na na-transmit, properly transmitted ng House sa Senate para mag-constitute sila into an impeachment court, yung court mismo. But in this case, hindi pa naman talaga na-convene yung impeachment court, umaakto sila as a Senate, as a legislative body. I don't think they are authorized to act on an impeachment complaint na transmitted by the House of Representatives.
Hindi, kaya nga, pwede ba silang mag-act sa resolution na wag na tayong mag-convene as an impeachment court?
Hindi
Kasi parang yan ang sense niyang resolution na yan. Wag na tayong mag-convene, ayaw na namin i-try yan. Pwede bang gawin yun ng mga senador?
Hindi.
They can always try, but as sa tingin ko, i-strike down ng Supreme Court yan kung meron magpo-question.
Senator, nabasa kasi namin ni Ami several times yung Article 11 ng ating Constitution relating to impeachment. Kahit kasi mag-convene ka sa trial court, wala naman nakalagay doon na de facto dismissal ng impeachment. Ang powers lang kasi doon ay nakalagay, na nakaspecify is to convict or acquit. Hindi ko alam kung saan ang galing yung possibility ng dismissal even as a trial court.
Hindi, first impression to, Ronald. Kasi wala nangyayaring ganyan. Usually, merong enough time para mag-try, mag-conduct ng trial yung impeachment court. In this case, talagang the whole thing was oras. Kaya may question ngayon, ito ba'y magko-crossover? Hindi ko usapan ito, pagdidebatehan Pwede bang mag-crossover sa 20th Congress o hindi? Kasi kung lack of material time at wala namang due process na mangyayari, yun nga, may mga technicalities, pwede pagdebatehan. Pero kung halimbawa gawin nga ng impeachment court na merong nag-file ng motion, nag-raise ng motion to dismiss at nag-act yung impeachment court, sinabi nila granted dahil nga walang jurisdiction. Ang assumption natin dito, nasa 20th Congress na. Halimbawa, nasa 20th Congress, nag-move ngayon yung defense. Sinabi nila na wala kayong jurisdiction dito. At nagkataon, nag-grant o nanalo yung nakakuha ng enough boto, not necessarily 16, kasi hindi naman dito conviction
Yes.
Yeah.
Pero yung
So, simple
20...
majority, halimbawa 13.
Yeah.
Sinabi lang granted yung motion to dismiss. Sinasabi naman sa Constitution din, hindi reviewable, hindi appealable ang decision ng impeachment court.
Yeah.
Hindi ko siya sabing yun na nga yung mangyayari. Siya sabi ko lang, pwedeng mangyari at pwedeng questionin o kaya, ang tanong pala, pwede pa bang questionin at pwede bang mag-act ang Supreme Court para i-review yung action taken o yung decision ng impeachment court na sa halip na i-convict o i-acquit, nag-grant yung motion to dismiss. Even in the middle of a trial or even before the presentation ng evidence ng prosecution. Dahil nga pinag-usapan, halimbawa, unang debate agad, technicalities kung pwedeng nag-crossover ba o hindi.
Oo.
But Senator, that's a different episode. Yung unang episode kasi yung 19th Congress. At yun nga yung basihan nitong resolution na ito. Can the 19th Congress do that? Dahil yung sinasabi nyo, Senator, 20th Congress na yun kung saan magiging bahagi na kayo sa desisyon, yung mga nanalo. No? So, pero yung unang labanan, yung ito nga, yung pag-convene ng 19th Congress as a impeachment trial court na medyo nauubusan na ng oras.
Hindi pa sila nag-convene Hindi pa nga nakatake out
Oo.
Yes.
Yes. Well, the constitutionalists, the experts on constitutional law have already spoken about it. Pati yung UP law, naglabas na ng open letter to the Senate saying it's unconstitutional, right? What
There's
they're
no
doing.
such thing.
There is no such thing. There's no grounds for this. It's grounded on not a proper reading of the Constitution daw, what they're doing. But my question to you, Senator, is kanina, nag-press conference si Senator Amy Marcos and she said that among other things, she said that mukhang may group effort around this petition to dismiss. And she says, suspecha niya that it's not just the Duterte allied senators, but it's also the administration allied senators who are trying to find ways to get this impeachment dismissed. Is that also the sense that you're getting?
No, wala akong narinig na ganong istorya, ganong version. Ang usapan legal, well, there's so many opinions, there's so many constitutionalists, maraming mga legal luminaries, but at the end of the day, Korte Suprema ang magdidesisyon. Hindi sa conviction, hindi sa trial, Ang pag-usapan natin itong resolution o yung de facto dismissal. Kasi debatable din yun Pwedeng pumasok ang Korte Suprema, kung may mag-petition doon, sila mag-interpret na hindi pwedeng gawin yung de facto dismissal or hindi pwedeng gawin ng Senado na hindi pa na-convene as an impeachment court. Realistically, yung sinasabi ni Ronald, magko-convene as an impeachment court. That should happen not earlier than Monday, hindi ba? Wala naman session ngayon
Oh.
So Monday, halimbawa mayroong motion to dismiss, pwede bang agad-agad i-dismiss? Siyempre, may due process din eh. Kaya ba ng 3 araw yun? Sinigyan na nga.
Pero sir, let me backtrack a bit. Of course, you're not part of the 19th Congress at you're coming in sa 20th Congress. Pero how do you view itong nangyari na February 11 pa tinasmit sa Senado itong articles of impeachment? We waited or the Senate waited for 4 months and it was delayed another week and a half pa until the penultimate day before the Senate adjourns. How do you view that?
O, hindi ko naman paliwanag bakit binibin ng House bago nila itinanspit yung articles sa Senate.
Mhm.
Kasi, di ba, magtitrigger yung 1-year ban once na yung speaker ni-refer niya sa
To the
Committee on
committee.
Justice ng
Yes, sir.
House yung impeachment complaint. Di ba? Doon na mag-move yung 1 year. Ibig sabihin, magse-set in na yung 1-year ban. Ngayon, bakit nila pinigil na hindi agad na-transmit ng speaker o na-refer ng speaker sa Committee on Justice yung impeachment complaint na nakapile sa House? Ba't nagtagal pa? Bakit tinintay pa nila yung malapit na mag-adjourn, bago mag-eleksyon, bago na-refer sa Committee on Justice?
Well, that's
Pero
that's
di
very
ba
argument.
Senator, whatever the reason, ay na-transmit siya sa Senate. At doon nagkaroon ng debate doon sa ibig
Correct.
sabihin ng forthwith. Di ba? Yun yung doon na whether kung ano man yung dahilan for the delay, it was transmitted sa Senate.
Yes. Pero yung forthwith, hindi naman absolute na forthwith agad-agad eh. Meron ako narinig si retired Justice Ato Plascona. Ang interpretation niya ng forthwith is walang unreasonable delay. Kasi kung merong reasonable delay, yung forthwith pwedeng interpret na parang hindi po pwedeng forthwith magsimula kasi nga merong reasonable delay kung bakit hindi agad nakapagsimula. Kanya-kanya opinion eh kasi we have 10 lawyers, we'll have 10 opinions eh.
Ikaw, Senator, ngayon, sa nakikita nyo, what do you think will be the best way forward dito sa magulo eh? Ano kaya pwedeng gawin ngayon ng Senado? In your opinion
The
lang,
best way forward, para sa akin to the best way forward is bayaan mag-crossover sa 20th Congress kasi imposible nang matapos ng 19th Congress. Again, going further, the best way forward is to go into trial.
Which is to
Doon
convene
na lang
themselves
mag-determine
as a
kung may
trial court.
conviction or to acquit. Correct.
Yeah.
Para walang question.
Oo.
So, meaning mag-convene na
Kasi
sa 20th Congress,
Sa
sir?
19th Congress.
Yes,
Mag-convene.
19th Congress.
Paano walang continuity kung hindi makonvene?
Natanong ko na rin ito sa mga lawyers ko, no? Kasi na-discussan namin to after ng proclamation namin as Senator-elect, ano? Ako. So, narinig ko rin to sa debate ni Senator Coco at saka ni Senator Tolentino. Ang sinaside doon, yung Pimentel versus Joint Congressional Meeting or Hearing 2004 na maliwanag doon sinasabi, pwede talaga mag-crossover kasi hindi naman legislative body yung impeachment court kundi different animal.
A court.
Court yun eh, oh.
Court.
Yung sinasabi sa Balag case, kasi sinasite din ito, yung Balag case, na natatapos lahat, yung sinasabing
Legislation.
Rule 44, no, yung Section 123. Lahat ng business, lahat ng activities ng Kongreso, nagtatapos to, kailan i-refile mo, simulan mo from scratch sa next Congress. Pero hindi naman natin pag-usapan dito, legislative body. Ang pag-usapan dito is an impeachment court.
Tama.
Ibang body yun eh. Nagkataon lang, Senado, the same Senate, but different composition.
Tama.
Okay.
Senator, on a different note, nabanggit ni Senator-elect Tito Soto na bakit hindi na-transmit sa Rules Committee yung impeachment daw nung last February. Ang sabi naman ni Senator Coco Pimentel, hindi naman kailangan. Ano ba talaga doon? Kailangan ba talaga tinapon kaagad sa Rules Committee or pwedeng hindi na?
Sa akin, dapat i-refer kagad sa Rules Committee para na sa gano'n, kung merong yamen sa Rules on Impeachment, maski naka-break, kaya gawin ng Committee on Rules yun.
Yeah. Pero bakit hindi na refer? Several months na. Ano yun? Talagang
Yun ang hindi ko alam.
nag-fall in the cracks? Or what was that about?
Yun ang hindi ko alam. Pero ako sumasangayon ako kay Tito Sen na pwede na bang ito yung articles, i-refer ko sa Committee on Rules muna para kung meron gustong baguhin sa rules on impeachment, habang naka-break during the campaign period, may nadadraft na silang amendment kung yamen nila. Kung hindi naman, di walang yamen. Pero at least, nag-set into motion na yung na-transmit na articles of impeachment.
Sir, speaking of Tito Sen, it's not a secret na rin no, that he may be interested in gunning for the Senate presidency. I wonder if you know how that's going. Kamusta po yung campaign niya?
Mahirap eh. Walang malinaw na numero sa ngayon.
Bakit, sir? Ano yung, what's the issue?
Walang nagbibigay ng categorical na sagot. Alam ko may mga nakausap lang, pero walang categorically sinabi na, okay, we'll vote for you.
Parang,
Open-ended lahat.
oo,
Mga open-ended.
parang everyone's waiting on each other, no? Trying to gauge, trying to read the temperature
Yes.
of the room. So, mahirap
Hindi,
po.
naghihintay ng numero.
Oo.
Actually, ang main reason, naghihintay ng numero. Meron na pa kayong 12, ako yung 13.
May impluensya ba dyan sa numero, Senator, yung botohan sa impeachment? Makaka-apekto ba yan sa numero ng Senate presidency?
No, I don't think so. Ano ba, mga chairmanship ng committee ang pag-uusapan kaysa doon sa impeachment.
Pero
Kasi
Senator,
halos-
sino yung
halos patamo na rin
trailing kalaban ng sinong posibleng kalaban ni Tito Sen for the Senate presidency apart
obvious.
from of course Cheese. Apart from
Obvious
Cheese, sino
naman
pa?
na yung incumbent, Sa ngayon,
Apart
dalawa
from
na
that, sino
naman
pa?
yung wala akong narinig. Of course, nag-express si Senator Amy. Pero hindi naman parang hindi naman na-pursue. Parang nag-signify, nag-manifest, pero hanggang doon lang.
Inulit po niya today, Senator, during her press conference that she is open to go
Yes.
for the Senate presidency. But, maybe she is also waiting on the numbers. We don't know.
Yeah.
Pero sir, if I could just take a step back and talk about the elections because hindi po namin kayo nakausap after the midterms. I was wondering what your assessment was of Alianza's performance. Of course, you didn't get as many seats as you wanted. And then nakausap po namin si Congressman Toby Tiangco who essentially blamed it on the budget.
And on the
On
impeachment?
the budget mess and on the impeachment. What was your assessment?
Sa akin, ang immediate assessment ko noon, hindi nag-deliver yung machinery eh. Actually, nag-conk out yung makina.
Well, why do you think, sir? Why do you think? Is it a
Local
function
yan,
of...
Senator. Local yan, di ba? You're talking about the machinery.
Yes.
Yung local
Yeah,
yan.
local.
oo. Bakit kaya? Nanalo naman yung marami sa local. Well, except of course, Gwen Garcia, no? Pero yung mga congressmen ng administrasyon, yung marami nilang local officials nanalo. Bakit ganon? Nag-dump ba?
Yun ang
Nag-junking?
hindi may paliwanag. Kasi lahat kami natalo sa Mindanao, halos lahat. Anyway, ang nasa tackle doon, karamihan talaga, yung sa Duterte.
Duterte.
Oo.
Okay.
Pero sir, Mindanao is what?
Kasi
24% lang.
yung makinarya mag-fail. Kasi alam namin na maraming walang kalaban. Yung sa mga districts, yung mga congressmen, tapos
Yeah.
yung mga local governor, maraming walang kalaban na nasa administration.
80%.
So bakit hindi nakapag-deliver?
In hindsight, would you have joined the Alianza now that all of the issues, all of these things have come to pass, Senator? If you had a chance to do it again.
No regrets, ganun masasabi ko. Kasi ako naman, maski noong 2016, na-adapt naman ako ng iba't ibang political parties. At least 2. Wala namang bagay sa akin yun. Kasi pag naging na-elect naman ako, naging senador ako, ganun pa rin ang trabaho ko, ganun pa rin ang attitude ko, ganun pa rin ang demeanor ko. Maski nasa administration slate ako, pag nanalo ako, magpiphysialize at magpiphysialize din ako eh. At saka alam din naman ni President Bongbong yun, nung inalok kami na sumama sa administration slate. Well, napasabi na rin namin yun na hindi mang guarantee na magiging sunod-sunuran. Pero kinuha pa rin kami.
Kahit namang sa
Ganon din
slate
nung
kayo.
kay President Pinoy. Oo.
Kahit
Nung
sa-
inibitahan kami, ganon din. Alam din naman na magpiphysialize.
Pero sir, what's your political sentiment here? Do you think that the arrest, for example, of the former president was ill-timed or ill-conceived or ill-implemented, thus resulting in what we saw in the elections? Could it have been done
Sabi
better?
ko lang, ang laki ng epekto doon sa aming kampanya nung na-aresto si President Duterte.
But do you think it could have been done better, or was it unavoidable that it should have been done before the elections anyway?
I really don't know. No, pero ang alam ko lang, negative talaga yung, adverse talaga yung naging epekto sa alyansa candidate.
Senator, nabanggit na rin lang natin yung aresto. Yung bago nating PNP chief, you're a former PNP chief. Bago nating PNP chief is Nicolas Torre. What do you think of his appointment?
The first PNPA
Well, he
graduate.
deserves to be appointed. Hindi ko siya kilala. Hindi kami nagkasama sa isang unit. Hindi ko nga siya kilala ng chief PNP ako. Kasi junior officer siya. No? Narinig ko lang doon sa kanyang dating boss na talagang yung sabi niya, yung official na yan, very firm yan. Pag inutusan mo yan, talagang mission-oriented, i-accomplish na yung mission. So, on that note, I think he deserves to be appointed kasi kailangan sa isang leader din, decisive, firm, at saka talagang mission-oriented. Training namin yan eh. Yung welfare of our men is second only to the mission accomplishment. Primordial talaga yung ma-accomplish mo yung mission mo. Hindi naman pwede yung, I don't blame him at all doon sa ginawa niya pag-aresto sa Pangulo kasi dati Pangulo. Kasi order ng Commander in Chief eh. May basis naman yung order kasi may warrant of arrest. So anong gagawin niya? Babalik sa Commander in Chief. Hindi ko kaya, sir. Ayoko.
Okay, sir, one more, sir, before you
Nagsalita
go.
siya ngayon, Nagsalita siya ngayon, sabi niya, there will be no arrest quotas under him. Saka yun daw, use of deadly force ay iiwasan sa law enforcement. Ano po yung masasabi niyo ron?
Standard hindi man ang kailangan sabihin na yun eh. There's only one justification to kill a person. Self-defense o kaya defense of a stranger or defense of your comrade. At siyempre, hindi na kailangan yung possession eh.
Kasi hindi nasunod
Ibig
dyan
sabihin-
for a long time.
Yeah, hindi na kailangan sabihin nyo na huwag kayong na kailangan lang kayo papatay kasi given yun eh.
Pero sir, mukhang kailangan minsan ulit-ulitin dahil medyo nawalan tayo ng ano.
Nag-iba eh.
Nawala sa naratibo
Nag-iba
yun.
yung kultura sa pulis eh.
Pero sir, let me throw in something else. Sir. Yung pitik kasi ng mga Duterte against General Torre is tumalon daw siya ng ilang rango para makakuha ng 4 stars. Ang bawi naman ni General Torre, yun din naman, mas matindi pa nga nangyari kay Bato kasi si Bato from
Bato.
Brigadier General naging 4-star General. Kayo po naging PNP Chief. Ano po yung tingin?
Ako, tumalon din ako doon eh. 2-star ako doon eh.
Okay.
So okay lang
Kasi
tumalon.
ang batas ganito, yung PNP law, pwede mag-appoint yung Pangulo,
Yeah.
mag-bid selection hanggang full kernel.
Hanggang full colonel, okay.
Pwede hanggang full kernel, makatapult siya hanggang maging 4-star general eh. Siya napili. Nasa batas, walang pinabiolate na batas eh. So what's wrong with that?
And then, last na sir, pahabol lang, you campaigned on fixing the budget, no? Especially, you were quoted during the campaign period saying that the budget has been mangled, it's one of the most corrupt in history. Ano pong balak natin gawin once we are in position, are in place?
Well, as we speak, Regina, ngayon, kasama ko yung mga prospective staff ko. Inaaral na namin yung budget ng 2025 eh. ang preparasyon para sa budget deliberation ng 2026.
Mm.
Pinag-aaral namin, ginadjustapos na namin yung net, yung House version, yung Senate version, yung BICAM,
Mm.
at saka yung enrolled bill. Para makita natin kung paano minanggel from the National Expenditure Program or the so-called President's Budget. Tapos yung naging House version, ilan yung naggalaw. Sa Senate, ilan yung naggalaw.
Mm.
Pagkatapos nung nag-BICAM, ilan yung kinalikot pa. So, for example, ito, nakaka 4 piece, ano? Originally, 114 billion. Sa BICAM, tinanggalan ng 50 billion, naiwanan 64 billion. Yung 50 billion, dinistribute sa iba't ibang ayuda. 4 piece nga lang yung covered ng patas at saka data-driven yun. May datos yun, tigaralan ng distribution yun sa mga iba't ibang ahensya.
Mm.
Ano mangyayari kung binawasan mo ngayon ng 50 billion? Saan ngayon kukuha yung mga listed beneficiaries sa 4 piece nung nawawalang 50 billion?
Yeah.
Samantalang yung mga AIX at kung ano yung pasyon itong 4 piece, pipila yung beneficiary, di ba? Pagka araw ng bigayan, nandun sa land bank, mas maayos ang distribution. Saka may data-driven nga yung iba, wala naman datos kung sino maituro. Di ba nga, may mga nababalitaan tayo, yung mga nakakakuha ng AKAP, nakakakuha ng AIX, bumababa sa kotse Yung iba naman, fully made up. Ba't mo bibigyan ng ayuda, nakakotse nga?
Pero Senator, bakit parang yung Congress lamang ang nababanatan dito sa usapin ng budget? Di ba it takes two to tango? Di ba dalawang houses ang gumawa ng budget? Di ba dalawang houses ang bumuo ng BICAM? Bakit parang absuelto yung Senado dito sa controversy ng budget?
Hindi naman. Kasi pareho namang guilty sa... Di ba nung binawasan nga yung AKAP, wala ito sa House version. Wala sa Senate version. Pagdating ng BICAM, biglang may sumulpot na 26 billion. Sabi nila, nag-aapi sila, yung 5 billion binigay sa Senate kasi 24 lang sila. Yung 21 billion binigay sa House. Ano yun? Bakit nila papartihin yun? Hindi naman kanila yun.
Correct.
Senator, meron kayong proposal, di ba, na lahat ng ayuda programs, i-consolidate na lang, ilagay under 4 piece para depoliticize siya, hindi pupunta sa program appropriations, hindi siya magiging pork barrel. Sa tingin nyo makakakuha kayo ng suporta from your colleagues na lawmakers? Mukhang sila yung tatamaan lahat niyan
May mga nakausap na ako na supportive sila. Ewan ko lang kung papasa sa plenaryo o kaya papasa sa BICAM. Pero dinadrop na namin yung aking bill, yung aking proposed measure tungkol dyan. Pag-amend ng RA 11310, ito yung nagko-cover sa 4 piece para ma-expand, ma-cover yung pang-AKA, pang-AIX at iba pa. Under one program na lang. So yung amendment, kinakrap na namin ngayon yung amendment ng Republic Act na nag-authorize sa 4 piece. Kasi at least yung 4 piece, may pag-aaral na ginawa, di ba?
Yes.
At saka listed yung beneficiaries.
That might be a difficult thing to do, Senator, to push that through.
Pahabol na tanong, Senator, tungkol sa crime. Dahil isa na naman itong nagiging major issue ngayon. At ibinabanat ito sa gobyerno na tumataas na naman daw, indicatively, ang crime, lalo na drug-related. Ano bang tingin nyo yung posibleng pag-mitigate ng problema na yan? Yung nakaraang gobyerno, ang banat dyan ay yung demand side. Kaya ang daming casualties. No? Ano bang tingin nyo? Paano ba mababawasan significantly itong problema na ito? Itong krimen na basically significant part ay related sa drugs.
Back to basics, yung crime prevention at saka crime suppression. Pag hindi mo na-prevent, kailangan masolve mo. Kasi kung hindi mo masolve, hindi mo na-prevent, ilalala talaga yung vision order problem. Sa drugs naman, tama yun. Huwag tayo mag-concentrate sa demand side. Kasi mas importante yung pagkukulan ng pansin yung supply side. Andun yung mga drug lords andun yung mga may pera. Yung demand, ito yung mga street posers, street users
Pero di ba dapat yun yung binigyan ng courtesy resignation, yung mga tiga-customs. Di ba malaking bahagi ng drug problem ay related dyan?
Nag-courtesy resign naman sila.
Parang wala pa yata tinatanggal.
Dininay lang.
Wala pang undecided yun.
Denied yung sa customs.
Denied, yes.
Ano yan?
Denied yung
sabi-
sa customs.
Yan yung issue ng supply side sa drug problem.
Ah.
Yung smuggling ng drugs.
Ni-retain yung Ni-retain yung Bureau of Customs. Binago ni President Marcos yung policy niya sa yung anti-drug campaign. They're going daw after the small scale, yung mga drug pusher, mga penihante. Anong tingin niyo dun sa shift na yon?
Okay, mas dapat mag-focus sa supply side niya, yung malalaking shipment ng drugs. Kasi pag wala yung supply, mahirapan yung demand, di ba? Of course, complementing yan each other. Pag may malakas naman ang demand at wala yung supply, tataas lang ang presyo. Pero kaya two-pronged Sila nga, three-pronged pa nga yung sa akin, two-pronged strategy, tama na Yung, di ba, constrict the market, tapos yung demand, i-reduce mo rin.
If I could just circle back to the budget issue, Senator, what are your thoughts on confidential funds, confidential and intelligence funds? Of course, since tinitinan nyo na rin po yung budget, there were still a lot of allocations for the civilian agencies last year for 2025.
Para sa akin, Regina, ang intelligence fund, dapat yan sa mga law enforcement lang, sa intelligence unit lang Bakit kailangan naman? Tatanda ko nung araw, mayroong pinatanggal ko. Yung Philippine Racing Commission may intelligence fund. Sabi ko, bakit kailangan ng mga kabayo ng intelligence fund? Pinatanggal ko yung tinanggal.
Philippine Racing Commission po?
May intelligence fund.
Baka may milagro
Sabi ko, hindi, napatanggal ko yun. Sabi ko, bakit kailangan ng mga kabayo?
Classic yun, ha?
Pero pwede naman yung gawin, di ba? On the part of lawmakers mismo. Pwede naman yung gawin ng mga congressman at senador, di ba? Tanggalin na lang yung mga intel fund ng mga civilian agencies. Di ba?
Hindi law
Except yung mga siguro.
function kasi kung may mga requirements sila sa intelligence, may mga intelligence requirements sila, itap nila yung intelligence community, hindi sila mismo. Wala naman silang capability. Bakit nila kailangan ng pera? Hindi naman sila capable na mag-conduct ng surveillance. Iba yung trabaho nila Ang marunong mag-conduct ng surveillance, yung nag-training sa intelligence.
Senator,
Ini-infiltrate daw yung mga elementary schools,
Senator, let me
So,
pitch
ipupush
something.
nyo ba yan, Senator? Ipupush
Kasi
niya?
coordination lang yan
Kasi po we've heard the back and forth ng pro and anti-Duterte dun sa liquidation ng confidential funds ni VP Sara. Na, for example, yung acknowledgement receipts of Mary Grace Piatos, Ontiveros, Revilla and all that. It's being questioned in Congress kasi mysterious yung mga pangalan wala sa registry ng PSA. On the other hand, the other side naman is saying na teka, kaya confidential funds yan, therefore mga alias lang yung mga yan. Anong tingin nyo? Is there any logic or reasoning behind this? Itong paggamit ng mga mysterious names sa mga ARs? Can that be justified?
Gano'n naman talaga ang nature ng confidential intelligence fund, special intelligence fund. Kasi kung classified pa yung o may intelligence project, at hindi pa pwedeng i-declassify, talagang gagamit ka ng aliases. Pero nasa seed envelope, yung tunay na identity o identities ng mga aliases na yon. Kasi pagka na-subject na yun sa audit, special audit ng COA, nakaredy ka dapat na ipakita, lalo na kung declassified na yung trabaho, yung project.
Yung tunay.
Nakaredy ka dapat, sino ba si Grace Piatos? Ito yan, si Juana yan, si Juana de la Cruz yan. Totoong tao yan. Mali rin yung tumbok ng House, ng Quadcom. Naghahanap sila sa PSA kung mayroong totoong tao na Grace Piatos. Ang hanapin nila, nasaan yung listahan? Sino ba si Grace Piatos sa tunay na buhay.
Actually, sir, yun din ang hinahanap ko po eh.
Elias.
Kasi,
Yun din sir hinahanap ko. I was wondering kung napansin ninyo, kung nagpunta sila dun sa... Kasi sabi ni Heidi Mendoza na merong logbook talaga dapat yan kung saan naka-record yung mga
Meron.
real names.
Dapat.
Ang problema, hindi
Nakapost.
rin mahanap yon.
Hindi, yun ang magsosolve dyan. Kung talagang ginamit ang tama, dapat si Grace Piatos, may tunay na pangalan yan na nagko-correspond kung sino si Grace Piatos.
Si Grace Pringles pala.
si Mary Grace.
Kailangan yan. Kaya nga yan, pagka na-declassify na, o kung nagkaroon ng audit, special audit, halimbawa, dahil may suspicion ng COA na mayroong misuse, nakaredy dapat yung ahensya o yung head ng agency na ipakita kung sino-sino itong mga aliases ito. Ito yan, isa-isa yan, ito yan. Huwag nila hanapin sa PSA
O nga, sir.
yung birth certificate ni Piatos.
Yes, sir. Pero sir,
Hanapin nila
Yes, sir.
yung birth certificate noong kung sino si Piatos sa tunay na buhay.
yes, sir. But I do remember, sir, dun sa joint circular ng DBM, COA, and all that, the ALG, on the use of confidential intelligence funds. May quarterly reports, including documentation, including, I suppose, that, na sinasubmit yung liquidating agency sa House, Senate, at President.
Sa Speaker,
in a sealed
Senate
envelope.
President,
Opo.
at saka Presidente ng bansa.
So, shouldn't they have that as
Iba
well?
yun. Hindi lang buong budget yon. Kailangan may quarterly report sila kung paano ginagamit yung budget. Ngayon, kung nakapokus lang tayo sa intelligence fund, hindi mo pa mai-report yun kung hindi pa terminated yung intelligence project. Maski, alam ba, 6 months yung niraran yung project, hindi mo pa may sasabit kung paano i-liquidate yung ng quarterly, yung paggamit ng intelligence fund. Of course, pwede mo sabihin yun, pero hindi mo pa pwedeng i-divulge yung true identity or identities ng mga aliases doon sa project na yon.
Pero sabi nyo
Kasi
nga,
hindi pa
Senator,
declassified eh.
sabi nyo nga, Senator, from the very start, anong trabaho ng DepEd Secretary or Vice President to have those hundreds of millions in intelligence and confidential fund? Parang hindi naman nila skill set yon. So,
Totoo yun.
Oo.
Totoo yun. Kaya ang suggestion ko, alisan ng intelligence fund yung mga ahensya na wala namang training sa pag-conduct ng surveillance o pagkagawa ng intelligence work. Mag-rely sila doon sa mga ahensya na train for the purpose. Yun na lang bigyan natin ng intelligence fund.
Although, sabi ni Senator Bato, marami daw may apelidong Piatos sa Davao.
Davao at Palawan.
But we will leave that there.
Well,
Thank you.
it doesn't matter eh. Sa akin, irrelevant yun eh. Ang importante, sino ba talaga si Grace Piatos sa tunay na buhay kung alias si Grace Piatos doon sa project na sinasabi ng DepEd.
Oo, correct. Okay, we'll leave that there for now. Thank you so much for your time and for talking to us. Senator-elect Ping Lacson, congratulations again, sir, and salamat po.
Maraming salamat,
Thanks,
Senator.
sir.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, Senator.
All right, that was a long conversation, and that is all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for joining StoryCon. I'm Pamintuan, Editor-in-Chief of the Philippine Star, and Ronald Llamas, a resident political
Heckler.
pundit. Heckler, sabi ni Ed. Join us again tomorrow, 4 p.m. for StoryCon. I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Ed Lingao. We are One News, all sides, all the time.